Hi, glad to see you on your channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It's important to us. Have a good view. In the summer of 1937, the USSR leadership made important decisions in the field of maritime policy. On July 17th, an Anglo-Soviet maritime agreement was signed on qualitative limitations for ships of the main classes. And on August 13th, a government decree was issued on the revision of the Program of Large Naval Shipbuilding, adopted in 1936. Under the new plan, battleships became fewer, destroyers more, and heavy cruisers and aircraft carriers were included in the fleets. The plan for the construction of combat ships of the RKKA naval forces did not receive official approval. But on November 1st, the People's Commissariat of Defense Industry was issued tactical and technical requirements for a heavy cruiser of Project 69. The main tasks of the ship were to fight with enemy cruisers to support the actions of its light forces, support active actions of light forces in remote areas, independent actions on enemy communications. Initial requirements of the main caliber of artillery was defined as 254 mm, displacement from 20,000 to 23,000 tons, speed, at least 34 knots, economic cruising range, 8,000 miles. Initially, the cruiser was planned to be armed with 9 254 mm guns in 3-gun turrets and 8 130 mm guns in 2-gun turrets. The cruiser's air defense consisted of 8 100 mm guns and 16 37 mm machine guns. In addition, the ship was to carry 2 3-tube torpedo tubes. Based on information about the completion of Scharnhorst-type battleships, the list of tasks for the Project 69 heavy cruiser was amended. Countering new German ships was added. In this regard, TSKB-17 began to develop a project with 305 mm main caliber artillery, 230 mm armor belt, displacement of 32,500 tons, and speed of 32 knots. Even at the very beginning of the ship design, the Navy Military Council agreed with the proposal of the People's Commissariat of Defense Industry to exclude torpedo armament from the cruiser armament. On July 10, 1938, the revised basic specifications for the design of the RKKF heavy cruiser were approved. The preliminary design of the heavy cruiser was approved by the government in July 1939, and the technical design in April 1940. According to the last of the naval development programs drawn up before the war, the 5-year shipbuilding plan for 1938-1942, 4 Project 69 heavy cruisers were to be laid down. On November 30, 1939, at the Leningrad Plant No. 194, named after Andrei Marty, now Admiralty Shipyards, the ceremony of laying down the lead cruiser, named Kronstadt, took place. And even earlier, on November 5th, the second ship of the series, Sevastopol, was laid down at the Plant No. 200, named after 61 Komunar, now Nikolaev Shipyard. The deadline for their delivery to the Navy was to be 1943. On August 1, 1940, the People's Commissar of the USSR Navy approved the technical specifications for the development of the project of rearming the heavy cruisers Kronstadt and Sevastopol with German 300 mm turret guns. This was due to the fact that on February 11, 1940, a trade agreement with Germany was concluded for the delivery to the USSR of 6 2-gun 300 mm turrets, complete with Siemens Puss, as well as the extremely low speed of development of domestic Mk-15 turrets. The updated design was given the number 69I. Contracts for the supply of artillery and PUS were signed with the supply companies Krupp and Siemens only on November 30th and December 23, 1940, respectively. Germany never provided sets of working documentation for the supplied armament, so the construction of the ships was slow and absolutely no work was done in the areas where the GC turrets were located. As of June 21, 1941, the hull of Kronstadt was brought to the level of the lower deck. Foundations of the main machinery were installed. Double bottom and PMZ compartments were tested for water tightness. Assembly of bulkheads between the lower and middle decks was started. The double bottom set was installed and riveted. 4 longitudinal bulkheads of the PMZ are completed. Processing of the lower deck armor plates was completed. By the decree of the State Defense Committee of July 10, 1941, all works on construction of heavy cruisers of Project 69 were suspended and hulls were mothballed. On August 16, 1941, Nikolaev was occupied by German troops. The hull of Sevastopol was partially dismantled and taken to Germany. During the blockade of Leningrad, a large amount of armored steel was removed from the Kronstadt for the construction of various defensive structures. After the war, in 1947, the remains of the hulls of both cruisers were dismantled for metal. Technical description of Project 69 heavy cruiser hull. The cruiser was to receive a smooth-decked hull, slightly collapsed sides and bools in the middle part. The theoretical sparsity was 500 mm, and the practical sparsity was 750 mm. The hull was divided by watertight bulkheads into 8 compartments. Armor. The main armor belt was made of 230 mm cemented armor plates mounted with a 5-degree outward slope. The upper edge of the side plates was attached to the middle armor deck, while the lower edge was mounted on a special shelf. The anti-shattering belt in the bow was made by armor plates of homogeneous armor, 20 mm thick. The upper deck was armored with slabs of homogeneous armor, 14 mm thick. The middle deck, aka the main armored deck in the citadel area, was protected by 90 mm thick homogeneous armor plates, and the lower deck was protected by 30 mm thick plates. The fore and aft traverse was made of cemented plates 330 mm and 275 mm thick, respectively. To protect the sub-bay compartments of the GC artillery from shrapnel, anti-shrapnel traverse bulkheads made of 30 mm thick homogeneous armor were installed. The barbets of the GC turrets were covered by 330 mm slabs of cemented armor above the middle deck. Between the middle and lower decks, the barbets were covered by 30 mm homogeneous armor. The barbets of the Mk-17 PMK artillery turrets consisted of armor plates of homogeneous armor 75 mm thick on the port side and 50 mm thick on the diametral plane side. Barbets of ZKDB turrets consisted of armor plates of homogeneous armor, 40 mm thick. Mk-15 GC turrets were protected as follows. Frontal and rear walls, 305 mm of cemented armor, side walls and roof, 125 mm of homogeneous armor. PMK turrets, frontal plate, 100 mm thick, side, 50 mm, rear wall, 110 mm, turret roof, 50 mm. ZKDB turrets, frontal armor, sides and roof, 50 mm, rear wall, 70 mm. The combat deckhouse had a frontal wall of cemented armor, 330 mm thick, side and rear walls, 250 and 275 mm thick, respectively. The deckhouse roof was covered with 125 mm thick plates. Mine protection. The depth of the cruiser's mine protection ranged from 4 meters in the area of the fore and aft cellars and up to 6 meters at midships. The onboard PMZ consisted of 4 armored longitudinal steel bulkheads, 20, 20, 16, and 16 mm thick. Armament. The cruiser's main caliber consisted of 3 3-gun turrets, Mk-15, with B-50 guns of 305 mm caliber. The guns had elevation angles from 3 degrees or to plus 145 degrees. Vertical guidance speed was 5.1 gr/sec, rate of fire from 3.2 to 2.36 v-mine depending on the elevation angle. Maximum range is 52 km with BB projectile, 47 km with OF projectile. Muzzle velocity of the BB projectile is 900 mph. That of the OF projectile is 920 mph. The mine countermeasures caliber was 4 Mk-17 twin-gun turrets, Mk-4 turret with lightened armor compared to Project 23, and 152 mm caliber B-38 guns. Long-range anti-aircraft caliber is 4 MZ-16 twin-gun turrets, slightly modified MZ-14 turret with lighter armor, and 100 mm caliber B-34 guns compared to Project 23. Small caliber anti-aircraft artillery was represented by 7 37 mm caliber 46K anti-aircraft guns. Aviation armament included a catapult and 2 KOR-2 seaplanes with storage on deck. The cruiser's GC Puce, housed in 2 central artillery posts, was provided by 2 KDP-28s, B-41s, and 3 12-meter turret rangefinders. PMK and ZKDB were provided by 2 KDP-24, B-42s, and 3 SPN-300s, respectively. The ship's propulsion system was unified with the units of Soviet Union-type battleships and included 3 GTEs of 70,000 HP each. Thank you for watching the video to the end. Forget to put a like and subscribe to the channel. It's important to us. See you soon.